Yes. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Okay. So, good afternoon, teachers. Good afternoon. Today, the topic that we are going to do today is something which is like, really close to my heart because stories have been an integral part of me growing up, and also when, when it came to being with my children and, spending some time with them, this was something that really brought us together. So, in school also, when I was in preschool, stories used to be there. Stories were like more like my forte. I knew like if I have to settle down the class, or if the children are a little restless or anything, if we put across a story, and I knew that the children would settle down. So let's just start, go ahead with this. So what we'll be doing, yeah, this is the flow of the workshop that we have today. But just a request, teachers, please mute yourselves. It will, disrupt the flow of the entire session also. Yeah, thank you, teachers. Just ensure that you mute yourselves. Keep the chat box open because we'll be starting with the assessment. So keep the chat box open. Rest, okay. Come on, let's do it. So this is the part of the entire our flow, what we'll be doing, what all, we'll be talking about why is storytelling important, what are the, different techniques that we can use when it comes to storytelling. So everything will be covered over here. And last but not the least, we'll be having a lot of activity bank, that is like a lot of activities that I will be suggesting. Again, one more, just a request, please mute yourselves. Just check the screen once if there is if the mute button is on or no. Just check it once. Okay, so we'll be starting with the assessment, which is the last workshop we did, which was on developing speaking skills in preschool. I want you all to be ready with your chat box. I'm also going to be, oh, I'm going to, okay. One of the teachers suggested that the screen is not visible. Is it visible to everybody? Just give me a thumbs up if it's visible. Okay, 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 great. So, since majority of the teachers they can see the screen, Khushbu ma'am, I would suggest that you can just either log out and log in again, or you can just refresh the window. You'll be able to see it. Okay, okay. Thank you, teachers. Thank you. Let's start with the assessment. The very first assessment that we have. Okay. So the question is that Ria, she's 4 years old. She always answers with only one word. Like if the teacher would ask, what did you eat today? She would just say rice. She won't say much about it. Or now, what should the teacher do next? Read it and now give me your. Okay, and now read the options. You know the drill. Read the options and give me the correct option. Yes. Okay, you can request or you can encourage Ria to speak in full sentence, but it would be like you can keep asking follow-up questions to the child, and prompt the child, give those prompts to the child. Okay, great teachers, great. Next question, come on. Okay, okay, okay. Next one, all right, teachers. Here we go. Arav, he rarely speaks during circle time. He looks interested but remains silent. What is the best strategy that we can apply? Yes, it's D. So we can start with pair conversation so that, if he is shy of speaking with too many people around or with around too many children, he will start talking with his friends first. Very good. Yes. Thank you, teachers. Next one. Come on. Yeah. I want all the participants to message, okay? There are so many teachers in the meeting. There are only selected few who are sending the messages in the chat box. I want the interaction like this. Come on, it's nothing. There is no right or wrong in the answers. All the answers, in a way, you can change it and make it correct also. But I want your involvement in this. Next one. A teacher shows a picture of a park. Which question is most likely to encourage speaking? What would you like? What will encourage the children to speak more about it?
First one.
Yes, first one. Yeah, even the C one is somehow over there, like, do you like parks or something? But that will be more like a direct answer, like, direct question. That is, you'll get an answer either yes or no. If you ask, what do you see happening in this picture, so the children can start describing it. They can look at the different things, like, there are children playing in the park, etc., etc. Yes, it's correct, teachers. A. Next one. After telling a story, the teacher wants to improve speaking skills. Okay. What should she do? If you want to improve the speaking skills of the children. Yes, it's B. Ask children to retell the parts of the story. Very good. Next one. Okay, I'm moving ahead to the next one. Come on, more involvement, teachers. Yeah. Okay. A child says, I goed to the zoo. How should the teacher respond?
D.
Yeah, it's D. It's D. Because we will correct the sentence when we speak, but we will not tell it directly in front of the child. We will give them, you went to the zoo, so the child will, it will help the child remember. Then you can ask that, how did I say? See, B, you can say that, say it properly, but they are too young to understand it. What are you trying to say when it comes to saying properly? Next one. Come on, next one, teachers. Children are pretending to be shopkeepers and customers. Only one child says only toy. What should the teacher do? Yeah, it's B.
B.
Correct. You have to encourage the child with prompts such as, can you tell me which toy you want? Or why do you like this toy? What exactly do you want to buy? Anything, give them those prompts. Next question. I'm moving ahead to the next question, teachers. Okay. A parent says, my child talks a lot at home, but never speaks in school. What is the most appropriate response that you can give?
Then A.
Yes, it's A. Thank you, teachers. Yes, it's A. This is how we can. Please mute yourselves, teachers. Those, I think it must have got unmuted accidentally. Please do so. Yeah. Okay. Next one. The teacher notices that only 4 to 5 children answer questions every day. What should she do? Yeah, this will help me with my next workshop also. Only selected few teachers are answering, not everybody. So even I know what I have to do then.
C.
Okay, it's C. Use pair sharing and turn taking activities so that the children get involved in it. So even I have to figure things out that way. Let me see. Yes, thank you. Thank you, teachers. I'm moving ahead to the next one. Chalo, last two. A parent asks how to improve speaking skills at home. Which suggestion is most appropriate?
I think B.
Kalpana ma'am, can you
Yes,
mute
ma'am.
yourself? If you want to say something, you can share. Otherwise, can you mute, ma'am? Thank you. Yes, it's D. It's D, teachers. Talk, read stories, and ask questions daily. Next one. Last one. Come on, last one, teachers. A teacher notices that she talks most of the time and the children mostly listen. What change would best support speaking development? Yes, it's A.
A.
Yes, teachers. Yes, it's A. Because what happens most of the time, when you unconsciously, we end up, talking a lot and the children end up listening. So we can consciously make efforts to change this thing. All right, teachers. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll be now moving ahead. Thank you. So I'm glad to know that my teachers are also, they do remember, since we had a long gap also between the two workshops, but we do remember what we discussed and how, what all we spoke about. So I'm glad to know that. Thank you so much for your involvement. Now we are going to do a quick icebreaker activity. What is this? This same icebreaker, as I've mentioned earlier also, these same icebreakers, you can do it with the children in the classroom also. Okay? You can do it with the children in the classroom also. So that's how I plan these activities. Now, what is this mystery object story? So this will basically, I'll show you an object on the screen. You have to tell me, how could this object become a part of the story? Basically, just make a sentence. This is just, I'll give you an instance also. So if there's the image is the key. So you can say this key opened a magical door. Or if you give an example, like if I give you an object, say a dragon, the dragon was afraid of bees. Or if I give you a picture of show you an object, a picture of a bee, you can say the dragon was afraid of bee, or the bees, anything you can come up with your own sentences. What I want you all to do is, I will show very basic, simple objects. You have to make a quick sentence, like as if it's a part of the story. Just a sentence, any, it should be a part, like imaginary thing. You make it up and you show it to me, okay, in the chat box. So come on, open the chat box, teachers, and let's do it. All right, simple basic sentence will also do. Here we go. The first object is hat. Quick, I want quick.
We use hat in summer.
Pardon ma'am, I couldn't hear you.
We use hat in summer.
Okay, yes, it's a sentence. Very good. But I want it as if, it's in a part of a story. Like the cowboy used to wear big brown hats, kind of a thing. Something like that. One simple basic sentence, anything will do. The dragon was wearing a hat. Yes, very good. In forest, hunters wear hat. One day a monkey saw a hat on the So a man with a hat, very nice. Yes. That's how I want it. Okay. I saw a cat wearing a hat. Very good. Superb. Next one. Come on. Next one, teachers. Okay. Good attempt. Come on. Next one is. Yeah, see, this Tripti teacher is continuing with the story of the magical door. So she found a hat in the magic door. Superb. I want story. I don't want those sentences like the normal phonic or grammatical sentences that we speak. I want the sentences as if they are part of the story. Moon ate with a silver spoon. Excellent. We ate with the spoon. Yes. All parents like spoon feeding for the children. Yeah, they do. But we want something with the which is a part of the story. The dragon eats food with the spoon. Yes, yes, we can do that. Yeah, very nice. Next one. Come on, next one, teachers. A magical spoon, but I want more elaboration on the magical spoon also, if you say. Come on, I want something with the teddy bear. You can continue with the sentences like, use hat and spoon and everything also with the teddy bear. Yes, the boy had a golden spoon. Very nice. Now come on, the next image is teddy bear. Okay, teddy bear, turn around. We can also say, yeah, was sitting in the magic door with a spoon. Yes, that's the kind of response I want. Open the door. Please give me a spoon. Yes, now we've gone. So the teddy bear is, like lovely, lovely. Good, good. Come on, more attempts, teachers. See, one day teddy bear wore a hat and eats honey, wears a hat and eats honey with that magical spoon. It's so yummy. Yes, very good. Yes, very nice, teachers. Next one, come on, the last one. Last one. You can use all the objects that we've done till now. You can make up your own story. You can do anything. Any way, whatever comes to your mind, I want it there. Come on. Wonder shoe. The dragon wore black shoes. Yes. The caterpillar was sad that it couldn't find the shoes that fit its legs. Yeah, teddy bear wore wear the colorful shoes, open the door with the magical key. Very nice, teachers. Very nice. See, it's so much fun to even imagine what are we doing here. Okay, okay. All right, teachers. All right. Come on. Now I will start. Okay. Thank you, teachers. I am pausing the thing here. We'll go ahead. So what we did here, teachers, what did we do? What we did was the stories, you can make up a story with the simplest of objects. This is how, what were you all doing? You were imagining, and we want the children to learn this imagination. And how will they do it? When we encourage them to think beyond it. When we encourage them to think beyond it. Okay, teachers? So let's just start with the theoretical part now. I am really happy with the involvement, like with the way you all were involved. Thank you so much. Let's just move ahead and we'll do the theoretical part. That is, why is storytelling so important? And we'll be covering two major aspects, that is imagination and language skills. Okay. So just this is a basic, simple thought question that I'm putting across, that when children listen to a story, what do you think is happening in their minds? Like, like right now, when, you all were writing these sentences, I could, when while reading those sentences also, I could imagine, okay, the dragon was wearing black shoes and this particular teddy bear was eating with a golden spoon. And, like you start imagining that. So what all I imagined, even the other teachers who were reading the answers in the chat box, they were also imagining, but their imagination may have, like for me, the teddy bear must be a very tiny little brown teddy bear. Other teacher must have thought like a huge teddy bear. So it's all imagination what we were thinking. So even the children, let's just imagine there will be fireworks bursting into their mind, coming up with amazing ideas, amazing thoughts when they are doing this. So that's what we want to ignite in the children. Now, see, for example, if there is this a small paragraph which I chose to write here, even while reading this paragraph, you will imagine these things, like, okay, it was a rainy day, so the children will imagine like it's raining. Or for me, the idea that came out was, okay, like once when I was traveling, and I could see, like it was pouring cats and dogs outside the window, and that thought came to my mind. I just imagined like it's pouring that way. So there was this girl who opened an umbrella. The umbrella could be colorful, red, whatever. That's our imagination. So every sentence which they listen or read, or as and when you speak it, they will be imagining those things, and that's what we want. Okay, here. So, one moment. Yeah. So, see, most people think, that, when children are sitting, they're just simply listening to the story. But no, they are actually doing much more. They are creating pictures in their minds. They are learning new words. They are predicting what happens next. So the moment you ask, or they are also thinking that, okay, now since that girl Mia was flying in the sky with the umbrella, where do you think she'll go? They'll understand the feeling that, okay, she was happy first, then she got a little scared. The feelings they'll understand. They'll connect the story with their own experiences also. So this is why storytelling is one of the most powerful tools or techniques, you can say, in preschool. You can teach anything and everything under the sun with stories to preschoolers. Now, let's talk about the benefits. We have the very first is that it develops imagination. When somebody asks, like, what is imagination? It is basically the ability to imagine, to create pictures, ideas, as it's mentioned on the screen. You can also read along with me, and possibilities in the mind. You will keep, like if there is a problem in front of you, you can imagine, okay, I am going to solve it like this, and what if I do it this way or the other way? They are imagining it. It helps the children to think beyond what they see. So it is thinking beyond that. When you're reading a story, like there was a purple elephant flying over a chocolate mountain. You just imagine, like, what all things will you imagine? Like, you will think, what? I tried this sentence with my children as well. I just said this sentence to them, and one by one I asked them, "What did you think?" So one said that there was this Disney character Dumbo. He was the elephant with very big flappy ears. He could fly with those ears. So one of my child said that I imagined that Dumbo had become purple and he was flying over the chocolate mountain, and there just when a volcano burst and the chocolate was all over the elephant. So just imagine. And the other one said that Mia's umbrella, or I had made them read that part also. So Mia's umbrella was this elephant was holding that umbrella, and he was going to the zoo or going to the jungle to his family. So just imagine the differences in the thought processes of the children. So this is what we want. This is what the children, we want them to imagine things whichever way they come up with. So we all will imagine something which is slightly different. Okay. So the story creates a picture inside our minds. That's what we want. Now, why is imagination important? Of course, it is important because this is when the children, we want them to think out of the box. Their creativity should be enhanced. Their problem solving skills will get developed. They are curious. We don't want them to subdue their curiosity. We want them to develop that part. We want them to be thinkers, innovative thinkers who come up with different ideas and solutions. Those innovative thinkers, or those people who you've heard inventors, you must, if you read their biographies or their childhood, how their childhood was, you'll see that they all were very imaginative children who would think and who would just imagine things, like that's what we want our children to do. Now, for example, in a classroom, during story time with the rabbit, you say that rabbit could not cross the river. Then when you ask the children, what could the rabbit do? You will come up with amazing answers, amazing solutions to the problem of how to help the rabbit cross the river. Some may say, they will swim, or some may say that he will build a bridge, or some may say they will put some logs and make a raft. or call for a boat, anything, they will come up with those. So these, we don't want a correct answer that is applicable to the same story, but we want them to think creatively. This well-known American psychologist, okay, Jerome Werner, he used to believe that stories, they help them organize their experiences. So they know, like if they've heard something in the story, they know, okay, something like this may, if it happens to them, they know like how to react to that. They also understand the meaning of the world. They also know what are friends, how do we treat our teachers, how do we talk to our parents, everything. So these stories basically allow the children to explore ideas beyond their everyday experiences. Second part, it helps in developing language skills. But why does language development matter? See, they are young. You all know that. I don't have to repeat it, but still I'll read it. That before they learn to read or write, they learn to speak and listen. This is why their language skills needs to needs to develop, and storytelling helps them because they are learning to listen, they are learning to listen, they are learning to speak, and if the words that you use, they are learning and listening those words and learning those words to speak. So that's what we want them. How stories build vocabulary, like this, I have had this experience firsthand in the classroom. This was when I was a junior KG teacher, and we had this particular. And why I mentioned the word walk also, like we used to go, let's walk and walk it up and something like that. There was some story, and then in the outdoor area we used to go, let's go marching, and then and other time when we were doing another story, and they were like the mother and the child went for a stroll in the park. I remember during the outdoor play, when we were saying, march, or when I was saying walk slowly or walk fast, the child would come and tell me, teacher, can we stroll slowly and go for a stroll very fast? So the child, I know it was not completely connected, but the child could connect the words. Like there are different words for the word walk also. So that's what we want them to learn, that there is their vocabulary, the bank should be enriched by the time they move ahead in primary. So here, if there is a simple story, like the brave little rabbit tiptoed through the dark forest. So the children are learning, okay, the brave rabbit. So like there's a new word, there's a word called brave. There is tiptoed, like you're walking on your toes. There is something called as a forest, and that forest is dark. So they are learning so many contexts over here. Now, they also, stories improve sentence structure. When we talk about sentences, so when they keep listening to a sentence, they know how to form a sentence, how to say the sentence in a complete structure. They are learning that we don't want only one word answers. We want them to make efforts to make sentences. So this is where they learn how the sentences are structured. And over time you'll see the children will start explaining one particular thing, and they'll start forming longer sentences. That's what we want. To follow a story, the children, we want, okay, the listening skills should be there. We want them to listen. We want them to remember the characters, so they know which character is talking and what is happening with those characters. They know that what happened, first this particular character came and so is happening. They want to understand what is going around in the story also. But for that, how will we help them? So this is how it helps them to improvise their ideas. So if they are listening, they will remember all these things also. The next is that children storytelling develops thinking skill also. So if the stories encourage children to think, as I mentioned, like you give them, put a sent question in between, or give them some problem, like, how I mentioned about the rabbit crossing the river, you know that we want them to think and come up with answers. For example, a squirrel loses its food. How can the squirrel solve the problem? So if you ask the children will start thinking critically, and you will be amazed with the answers, the responses that you get. The next is that storytelling also supports emotional development. They are here getting in touch with those emotions. They can associate themselves with those characters. Okay, they know like what is angry, what is sad, how are we supposed to behave. They understand these things. When and if there is something interesting happening in the story, they'll feel that excitement happening. They know that okay, kindness is what you have to learn, how you have to behave. These things, they are learning those emotions with them. A story is never just a story. Every story helps the children to imagine, to think, to speak, to listen, to understand emotions, and of course, learn new words. So basically, it's like the overall package, the holistic package of making the child grow. Here we are covering the language skills, the listening skills, the speaking skills. We want their imagination also into the picture. We want their emotional development also. All the criteria are getting developed here. So now you think about a story that you loved as a child. Can you still remember the characters or events? Like for me, my favorite story when I was young was Cinderella. No, not Cinderella. More than Cinderella. In fact, now when I think it's Snow White. So now I still remember those Disney books had those Snow White, wearing that yellow skirt with a blue top and a red bow or a hairband on top of her. So see, I remember it so vividly. What is the power of storytelling? I would want to love what you all also, which was your favorite story or character, but that, if time permits, we will do it in the end. But let me cover up the entire thing. Children may forget, if you've made them do fun worksheets, amazing worksheets, everything, they may forget it, but they will never, they often remember a story for years. If you tell them a story of the Lion and the Mouse, trust me, if you ask a child in class 4 about the Lion and the Mouse, they will tell you. Why? But that's the difference. Once they remember, these are the stories that are just there in their minds and they stay there. When we tell stories, we are not simply entertaining them. They are learning so many things and they are getting connected to those things also. So, what are these techniques that we can apply to just make storytelling more engaging? Okay, now I'm going to say a sentence in 2 different ways. I want you all, sorry. Yeah, I want you all to tell me which version is a better version. This is the sentence that we have in front of the screen. You just have to write 1 or 2 in the chat box. That's it. Okay. The first version. The big lion was, yeah, the big lion was resting under a tree when suddenly he saw a tiny little mouse. First version. Second version. The big lion was resting under a tree when suddenly he saw a tiny little mouse.
First one is better.
Yes. First version. Yes, the first one. Why? Because I tried to enact it I tried to make it interesting by enacting it, by changing the tone in my voice. When the word big came, I said the big lion. Or when we said tiny little mouse, that's how we connected, and that's how a simple sentence also you all like. Thank you. Yes, it's first version. Yeah, that was the idea. That uh, was the idea. Now, the sentence was the same, only the delivery changed. Okay, this is why storytelling techniques really helps. The first technique is voice modulation. Voice modulation means changing the volume, the big lion, I increase the volume, the pitch, the speed. The gingerbread man runs very fast, he ran very fast. The tone, all the children were asleep by the time the parents reached home. So, the tone, that when it's like soothing time, when it's calming down, you will use that kind of a tone. So that's how you will change it according to the story. And this is very simple. Even if you've not, you may be struggling with any of those, but if you keep practicing, doing stories and remembering and being connected to the story, these will automatically come to you. I'm just using those big, big words. Most of the teachers will be doing voice modulation in the classroom. What happens is, like when you keep changing the volume, the tone, the speed of your voice, you are bringing the children back to you. Their attention is coming back to you. So, and they are understanding, like the little rabbit was lost in the forest. So you'll see that, okay, he's sad. So they are understanding emotions. They are identifying the characters, like the tiny little mouse said, help me, help me. And the lion said, nobody will come to help you. So they are understanding the characters. The lion is huge and he has a thick voice, and the mouse is tiny. So it has a tiny little squeaky noise. So that's what we want them to understand. They are going to correlate these things. So see, the first technique is whenever anything is that like which is loud and soft, we want them to be here like this. So I had thought of making new teachers unmute and say it in your way, but since we are running out of time, I will only have to do it quickly. Or you can understand the technique that the giant entered the castle and he said in a deep voice, I am here. So you can see giant hair. So he's going to be a huge person. He has like a bulky man, and he's going to say it like this. So that's why we've given it like the soft voice, the same thing. Like the mouse will say, "Please don't hurt me." Of course, it's a tiny little mouse, so we are giving it like this. The fast and the slow thing. So the rabbit ran through the forest. So they'll also understand, like, okay, we'll only go fast when we speak this sentence. And the tortoise walked slowly. Walk slowly. So it happens that way. So changing speed helps the children visualize the movement. This is where, these different voices for each characters you can try. They will understand who is speaking. Why now we come to, after this for voice modulation, the second part we come to is the facial expressions. Why expressions matter. So young children, they understand, they read faces. This is where they are understanding things. This is how they are learning new things, about emotions, about the reaction of what they get from the parents, everything. So that it is the expressions that help children understand emotions. So the story, the rabbit found a giant carrot. So when we are saying the story, I can give you we'll say the rabbit found a giant carrot. Of course, the rabbit is going to be happy. So this is how it's going to react. So this is how they understand the reactions. Children connect emotionally when they see emotions. If you give them the rabbit found a giant carrot, they will not connect to it. So the expressions matter. The third part is actions and gestures. The more the actions you use, the gestures, you keep them involved into the story, it will become memorable for them. They will understand. So like the elephant walked through the jungle. You can tell them, or you can enact, or you can tell them to enact, like stomping and stomping their feet and walking around. So this is where they will be able to connect. The bird flew across the sky. So flapping your arms and making them do it. The same thing, over here. The fourth part is that bringing characters to life. So this is where, some characters are like, for me, imagine, when did I know about Snow White was when I was 5 or 6 years old. Imagine at that time, the character is still there in my mind with those specific kind of clothes. Today, I won't sit and read a fairy tale, but I still remember it. This is what the stories do. We have to bring those characters to life. So if you're talking about the grandmother in the story, the voice will become gentle. There will be slow movements. We want them to imagine that. The lion, then there will be a strong voice and the posture will change, like that. Rabbit, same way. The last one, the fifth one is involving children through actions. As I mentioned, this overlapping with that, but it cannot be a one-person show. Children should participate. So if there are some stories where like the gingerbread man, for example, whenever we used to do that, like the gingerbread man, and every time the moment they came to know that the gingerbread was about to run, so they will say, run as fast as you can, run as fast as you can. So the children are involved, they are listening attentively. Okay, this is when I'm going to say this, and they will start. So here, when the teacher will say the rain started falling, so the children can, imitate the sound like tap, 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 any sound effects that you can give. Same thing, horse. So it's basically, they are enjoying it, they are participating, they are listening, they are learning how to speak. It's just a good overall, children are having a gala time when they are involved. Now, there are some common mistakes that you can avoid. Reading directly from the book, of course, like reading it just blankly, the children will lose interest. Using one flat voice, no excitement. Standing still. If you are just sitting in one place, still move your arms, move your, move your upper body. If you're standing, move around, do some gestures. So it will be engaging for them. Rushing through the story, they will not get the time to imagine only. They will not connect to the story. Looking only at the book, but better maintain eye contact with the children. Remember, the children do not remember stories because they are long. They remember because they are told with energy, expression, and emotions. All right. So it's a story. A good storyteller helps the children see it, hear it, feel it, and become a part of it. And that's what we want. Okay, so the next thing is that involving children through questions, props. I'm just giving some simple, basic activities also along with it. So storytelling should be interactive. It should not be passive. Children should not sit quietly and only listen from beginning to end. Make them involved in it. These are the things that if they participate, this is how they will, listen, think, they will enjoy. So first is using questions during storytelling. Keep using, ask questions. They will think, they will predict, they will get interested in knowing, what is going to happen. If I said this, is that going to happen in the story? They will express themselves, everything. So type of questions to ask. You may ask, before the story, show the cover page and ask, what do you see? What do you think is the character? What name would you like to give the character? What do you think about the story? Ask them before the story begins. Like this way, as you can see it, the hungry caterpillars there. So ask, what do caterpillars eat? What do they think will happen in the story? Everything, you can ask them those questions. Then the second question you can ask is during the story, but don't keep interrupt, after every sentence, don't keep asking questions. Ask question, after like a small part of the story is done, ask them, pause occasionally and ask, what do you think will happen? This, that. You can ask questions related to the story. Sorry. The goal is conversation and making them think. We are not looking out for the correct answer. Now, the last one will be the after the story. Like, who was your favorite character? Why was it your favorite character? What happened first? You can make them retell the entire story so that they are learning the sequencing of the events as well. And a moral also, like what did you learn from the story? The next is using props during storytelling. One of the basic props that they love is puppets. Make a sock puppet, make a paperback puppet, make a finger puppet, anything. Puppets, like they love puppets. Preschoolers love puppets. You can also use soft toys and those cuddly bears we have figurines of animals. You can use those things. You can use everyday objects also. You don't introduce the main character as a puppet or a figurine, but show them the objects that character is going to use in the story. They will connect with it. You can use picture cards, you can use animal emotion cards, you can use flashcards, you can use those things also. See, my idea, by now you all also know, I don't want to burden you teachers with, making those props or anything. By now you've understood how I go. So these are just the basic, what all things you have around you, you can use it, and you can use it in the story. Simple activities during storytelling. Why we are going to do these activities? Why do they learn? Because it helps them participate in the story. So if it's a sound effect story, if there is a story coming with the sound effect, so tell the children to, give that sound effect, repeat after you, or every time you say the sentence, the rain started falling, the children will start doing tap, 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 tap. Then actions. If there are some actions involved of the characters, the rabbit jumped, let the children jump. Let the lion roar. If the lion roared, let the children roar. Repeat, like, see, this run as fast as you can. Tell them to repeat every time. So they are involved. I have mentioned the benefits also. You can read the benefits in everything, how it helps. This is, movement and comprehension benefits like this. So these way. So then freeze and predict, the monkey climbed the tree and suddenly stop. Ask the children what will happen. What do you think is going to happen? Let them predict and then do it. They ask the question thing. Character talk, pause at an exciting point and then say, what do you think the character will feel? What do you think the character will say next? Let them think. Act out the story. Like then, once you're done with the story, as a recap or for the next day, you can make, call out children and tell them you are these characters and act it out with us. Let them act it out in the classroom. Now, the common mistakes here we can avoid is asking only yes and no questions. We don't want yes and no questions. We want them to know what they think. Using too many props. Do not use too many props. Do not go ahead and, even if you are having a puppet show, don't go overboard with the background. Don't go overboard with the puppets, and don't use too many things. Keep it as simple and as interesting, as colorful as possible. Okay. But not too many things. Don't make it crowded for them. Ask questions. After every sentence, do not do that. It interrupts the flow. Not giving children enough time to answer. We are not in a hurry. We are not going to go and catch a bus right after the story. Wait patiently. The goal is to not tell a perfect story. The goal is to make the children a part of the story. So this is where it comes into the picture. The best storytelling sessions are not the ones where the children are sitting quietly. We want them to be involved in it. Okay, now here is the storytelling activity bank. I will take more, we may extend it for more 5 minutes, but let me just rush it through as, okay, I'll just, there's not much left, but still if it is, then I will rush through, we'll extend for more 5 minutes if that's okay. So what are we going to do? These activities can be used, before storytelling, during and after also. What do they help? You can read through. These are the same things which I've been mentioning and talking about. These are there. First is the story bag. So what you need is, you need to take 3 or 5 random objects. Like, how we did that mystery bag thing when I told you earlier for one of the workshops. So you can put these things. Children will pick up an object and the teacher includes it in the story. So, or you can make the children include it in the story which you're doing. Or you can also tell them, okay, there are 5 objects. All the 5 children make a group of 5. Each child will pick up an object, and then each child will make up a story using that object and connect it. Like if the child one says a toy animal is there, for example, of a monkey. So the monkey was sitting on the tree. The second one will say it was eating some leaves. The third one will say that then he wanted to go home and he removed his key to the house. Once he entered, he saw his mama had made some amazing breakfast and he ate it with a spoon. So let the children also build it. So for one activity of making a story bag, you can do it in many different ways. Picture prompt story. Any picture card or magazine, picture book, anything that you have, anything. What do you see? What do you think is happening? What might happen next? Why do you think, let them keep imagining. We want that. Freeze and predict, as I mentioned earlier, it's the same thing. Finish the story. So, like one day, a monkey found a treasure map. Ask the children to build it with you. Ask the children to complete it. What happens next? What was the treasure full of? It was the end of the day. It could be the treasure. The treasure was that it was a big trunk full of bananas. Because monkey will not use any gold coins. It will like the bananas more. Anything. Let the children keep coming up with their ideas. Story cubes. Now, this picture dice is basically what we used to do. We had this huge foam dice that we got in some of the activities, or you can take any box, any square box, like which is a cube. So, and you can just wrap it up and put pictures around that on the box. Roll the dice, and you can use a story and make up a story using those images, whatever comes first. They are learning how to sequence, they are learning how to, the sentence formation, the sentence structure is coming into the picture, everything happens. Then you can make one child a character of a story. Like for example, we Lion and the Mouse, let the child be let one child be the lion, and others will ask the questions. Like lion, why did you go? Why were you sleeping in the afternoon? Lion, what were you doing in the morning? Anything they can ask that way. Any story that you've done, let any one child become a character of that story. Sound effect story we want to cover. See here, if you've noticed, most of these activities are zero prep activities. I don't want those activities where you are bogged down into making props and materials and collecting stuff. Simple stuff, please try and apply it in the classroom, teachers. It would really, because these have been tried and tested by us, so that's why we've put it across. We have, like for example, how to play, like assign sounds. So whenever we have, say if I say rain, you have to do tap 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 tap. If I say wind, you have to do whoosh. If I say horse, you have to do click clock click clock. So you can make them, and every time you say the sound or make some sentences or make that sound, let the children do it. Then we have action story, which I said, jump, flap your arms, all that. Emotion. So how is during the story, pause the story and ask, how is the character feeling? Happy, sad? Tell them to name the emotion. Why is it feeling like that? If the character is feeling sad, how can we make him happy? You can ask those questions. Draw your favorite part. This can be after the story. You can tell the children, draw your favorite scene. Let them imagine. We don't want a perfect picture. They will just scribble. Ask them once they have drawn. Ask them from the scribbling also. They will show you. This is the character. This is the lion sleeping. This is the mouse on top of the lion. Anything they will ask you. They will tell you. So we want them to draw. Just like a recap activity, kind of a revision, you can make them do this. Or you know what, when the next day when they come, if you've done the story today, and next day when they come during arrival time, you can make them do this activity. It will also help. Puppet interview, go for, have any puppet or any soft toy that you have. The puppet will ask questions. Like, what is your name? What was the favorite part of your story? Which was not your favorite character? Why? So they like enjoying, even the shy children they'll also enjoy talking. Then we have story sequence game. So 3 to 5 pictures, put up those cards or anything that you have. Tell them to arrange it. Like if you've done the lion and the mouse story, tell them, give those pictures and tell the children to arrange it in a sequence. Or give them basic picture cards and tell them to come up with a story and put it up. Anything they can do. We do not need expensive or props or elaborate setups. The most effective storytelling activities we need is your voice, your expression and children's imagination. Because why have I specifically mentioned this, because when we used to do those puppet shows and everything, a lot of efforts and hard work and time used to go in preparing those backdrops and of course making it amazing for the children. But the end of the day, the that much efforts if we would have put in those in practicing and narrating and everything, it would be a different thing, because that's what the children will remember, not the backdrop. What storytelling? Okay, great. So what? Oh, sorry, 1 minute. So we've come to like the just like the final part of the session. So I won't take too much of your time. But what is that one storytelling technique that you will start using in your classroom from tomorrow or whenever? I want you to write it in the chat box. 2 more minutes, ma'am. It will end by 3:02 or 3:03. Don't worry, ma'am. Sajal Sharma, ma'am. Anything? Okay. No, okay, no problem. Yeah, children participation. Thank you. Yes, like their involvement will turn the story around. I know it becomes a little difficult to manage them and make them sit again, but it will automatically happen. Trust me. Yes. Yes. So basically, which of these techniques, yes, voice modulation, you can work, they will help. They will help. Yeah, story after the story reflection, don't miss out on that. Once the story is done, give 2 minutes and do a reflection thing. It will work wonders. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So here we are coming to an end of yet another session. Just I would like to just read what is there on the screen, is that when we tell stories with expression, imagination, and heart, we do more than entertain the children. We help them think, we help them dream, speak, and grow. And this is what we want. This is what we want, right? So, teachers, we've come to an end of yet another storytelling session. Not a storytelling, but a workshop. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I'll see you for the next workshop now. And yeah. And please do review us. We've put up the link in the chat box. Please do review us. It really matters. It really helps us, and it boosts us our confidence also. Because with the efforts that we put in, and it really encourages us to do more. And to end the session, I would thank all of you for attending the workshop and also being so actively involved in the whenever I asked those questions and everything and I got those prompt responses. Thank you so much. Thank you. It really, really makes me happy and makes my day. Please do. The review link is shared. Please, it will take just a moment. Do share the review link. Drop in a review for us, please. Thank you, teachers. Thank you. We'll keep the window open for 2 or 3 more minutes. Till the time, thank you, teachers. The review link, I'm just telling you one more time, it's shared. Please, it will take just a moment.
Hello.
To drop in a review.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We are calling from Greenwich Global Preschool, Salem.
Hello, ma'am. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, we have already registered for this classes every month. Okay, but we are not getting the link every time. Only when we ask the link, we are able to get it. Otherwise, we are not getting the link on a proper time. Yeah. So most of the classes we have skipped actually because of this issue.
What I'll do is I'll just note down the name, ma'am. Greenwich Global School, right?
Yeah, Greenwich Global Preschool.
Greenwich Global Preschool. You are not
Yeah.
getting any links for the workshop for the sessions, right?
Yeah, Zoom meeting links. Yeah, we are not getting
Huh,
it.
huh. I'll put it forward. I'll forward this to the one thing. Preschool Kalem, right?
Yeah. Yesterday I talked to your team, so they told me
Huh,
that you raise the issue in the meeting so that it will
huh.
get resolved.
Okay, okay. So we'll try, and next time before the next session also, I'll give another reminder also to send it across if you've not got it now.
Okay, okay. Actually, when are you sending the Zoom link? Actually, on the previous
Uh,
day or?
Ma'am, that the right answer will be the tech team can give the right answer for that. Let me still
Okay.
ask if they are there. Yeah.
Hello, Vidali ma'am.
Because
Yes,
every
yes,
time we are
Supriya
seeing
ma'am.
yeah, every time we are seeing the teacher that schedule, you have sent already to us, and every time we are checking it and we are asking the link. Why you did not send us the link? Because tomorrow we have the meeting. So only then after that they are sending us the link.
Okay, I have put forward the thing. Yes, Supriya ma'am, you're there?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, ma'am, sorry for the inconvenience caused actually. So from next session onwards, you'll get the link before 2 days itself. Okay,
Okay,
I'll make
Supriya.
sure it will be done.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Supriya. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
So we can I will be concluding the meeting now. Have a good day, teachers. I'll see you soon. Do review us. We've put in the link again. Please do review us. Thank you so much.